Former governors of Ekiti and Cross River states, Kayode Fayemi and Donald Duke, and prominent human rights activist Shehu Sani were among an assembly of people who on Thursday agreed that Nigeria was not working as a nation, but crawling with no national developmental vision. That call was made at the Emeka Obasi inaugural memorial lecture, which was held under the theme, "If This Giant Must Walk, Manifesto for a New Nigeria." According to them, there must be a national leadership consensus on what Nigeria means to everyone and on how to manage the nation's resources while ensuring transparency and accountability at local levels. Arise News analyst Dayo Sobowale is here to look at what issues Nigeria needs to forge a national consensus on in order to stimulate growth and development. Good afternoon, Mr. Sobowale. Warm welcome to the program as always.
It's a pleasure being here as usual.
Right, a great gathering of minds, and if we're to zero in on some of the topics or angles that were explored, elections and our election process as well as insecurity were two major areas of focus. Do you think that these are the things that should be at the top of agenda when we talk about a national consensus that could get the giant from crawling to walking, as they put it?
Right. There's a rider in the topic there. If this giant must walk, I will answer that briefly. The giant cannot walk because it has feet of clay.
Wow.
It's as simple as that. And then you say the participants, those three they mentioned, they are active participants in the evolution of the paralysis of the legs of the giant that is struggling to walk. One was a governor, the other was a senator, and yes, one was a governor, one was a senator. And they have spoken from experience. I agree with what they have said. But like I said, they were participant observers in the exercise. I won't ask them what did they do then. Get me? But it is obvious. They are getting wise after the event. That's an expression that I want to use for them. Getting wise after the event. But then let's face the challenge. If we really agree that the giant is paralyzed, you get me? You must look at the neurological factors leading to that paralysis politically. Look at our history. Look at our political culture. Look at our economics. If I want to be personal now, I will use the discipline that I studied, government philosophy, economics, break it into that and analyze. But then it's bigger than that. We must learn from our mistakes. If you look at our history, the colonialists handed us a democracy. Then the military intervened in 1966. So that politicized our democracy. We have not survived that till now. Because it affected our constitution, it affected our federalism. Because the military, immediately they took over, introduced a unitary chain of command. And Nigeria was a federation. And then in a hurry, though we had the war later, in a hurry to make sure that the whole of the East did not go over into secession, states were rapidly created and they were multiplying them, regardless of the resources at their disposal and the ability to be able to deliver. And again, look at our metamorphosis from a militarized democracy to a democracy that is bastardized and is dominated by the military in Agbada, not in military uniform now. Because you had state governors, you had military state governors, and they had absolute powers, literally. And see, they made money, you cannot deny it. And money buys influence. And when politics came, they were in the forefront to get elected. So that is the nature of our democracy. And then to crown it all, the icing on the cake, if you look at it, is the nature of our elections. Our elections are always rigged. One of the speakers said that there is an issue of legitimacy because those who are in power are rigged into power, and so they can't have legitimacy. So it is a perverted democratic political system. Now look at our political culture. Okay, the election rigging is part of it now. And then there is a class crisis between the political class. What I mean by political class are politicians, professional politicians. You get me now? And they have made access into that class difficult to get into. In terms of money, in terms of time, in terms of rewards for political action. That's why you can have 100 million naira for you to be presidential candidate. And it made it impossible for competent people to come in. And you see, to legitimize that fraud, you see our elections, they put vice chancellors, you get now, professors, intellectual dignitaries in their various disciplines to supervise rigged elections. So how perverted the system is. So if the giant cannot walk, I say it has feet of clay. The Yorubas have a proverb. If you see a man, you see a man's load is slanted. They say, look at the leg, it is scale leg. So those who spoke cannot pretend they don't know the sources of our maladies. I must get personal now. I have a collection of poems published by Macmillan, Social Maladies Made in Nigeria. Get me? I think it is. If I have some time, maybe I will read about it here. But now, let us look at our orientation in terms of moral values. Okay, we are talking of, we spoke about minimum wage yesterday. You saw the way Labour is going about it, making unrealistic suggestions to government, making a mockery of government, or making a mockery of social welfare. Because Labour is supposed to try, with all the means at its disposal, to bridge the gap between the rich and poor by asking for meaningful wages for people. But that is not on. And look at the cost of governance, because you can't go away from that. The cost of governance is so huge because the political class can always buy the influence it needs to sustain itself in power. It is a sort of David-Goliath competition. And this David has not been able to slay this Goliath. So let's leave it at that for now.
Painted a very, clear picture of the situation on ground, Mr. Sobowale, and I'm still stuck on the feet made of clay. I really have appreciation for that. But based on all these realities that you have highlighted, do you think that it's still possible to achieve a consensus, especially when you consider that we have such a deep, political divide in this country?
Of course, it is possible. It is possible. Although what I'm going to highlight may seem impossible. Let us first of all conduct a clean census. Do you get me? Census has been politicized because from the census that they allocate seats in power. And I suspect the British, because the southern politicians gave them hell on the fight to independence, favored the north more than here. So maybe they told the north that it's a game of numbers. You must always insist you are more populated than the south. But look at the ecology, the geography, the climatology of the north. Especially, I served in the northeast. The population was 15 million when I served. It was one state then. Now it is 6 states. Tell me what You see, you travel around the place. You see, even up to now, since that time, I don't want to mention the time I did national service. Since that time, people are still migrating down because the Sahel is getting dry, and there's no food, no water, and of course that has created insecurity. If you are battling with security all the time, you can't even have a clear head to think and make development. So let's rest it that way.
Mr. Sobowale, so many profound points that you made today. So I really appreciated your input today. Thank you so much for your time.